Meeting for November 21st. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our armed forces serving throughout the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, minutes, motion to accept the minutes from our regular scheduled meeting held November 9, 2017.
Make the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Desiree, could you read abstract number 12?
Abstract 12 contains vouchers 171046 through 171133, and it totals $767,541.65.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve abstract number 12.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve equipment request 2017-22 and 2017-23 for the new engine 521 totaling approximately $5,918.74.
I'm sorry, go ahead, buddy.
Make the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we have a zone change request. Highland Mills Center Group LLC and Lakeside Affiliates LLC have petitioned for the creation of a senior citizen housing overlay district to be placed over properties section 218, block 2, lots 7, 9, 10, 11, and 13. This is a discussion. Want to discuss if we want to move forward with this. If you want to consider this, I will ask Desiree to confer with the planning board to select a date to schedule a joint public hearing with them. So, any discussion?
All right, I'll go first then. I reviewed all of the documents a couple of times, and I was at the planning board meetings where this was discussed, and I did request that they provide a market analysis. They did do so, but the vast majority of the market analysis that I read is opinion and not factual. With that said, I'm just not convinced that we need this right now.
Okay.
I'll be
Anybody?
blunt and quick. I'm not in favor of it.
Okay. Anybody else?
As Mr. Egan stated, I'm reading through their market analysis, and it leaned very heavily on a survey that was done over 15 years ago with little recent data to back it up. So, I mean, I'd like to see more of a marketing analysis that shows actual data that substantiates rather than opinion before I would be willing to move forward.
Okay, thank you. Neil?
Well, I mean, I believe we do need some senior housing. Whether this is the correct proposal and stuff, I'm not quite sure. But again, the information I have is anecdotal, and probably since I've been coordinating the Friendly Visitor Program, there has been approximately 10 seniors who have had to move out of Woodbury because there was no suitable housing. You know, spouses passed away or something, and they're in a 3 or 4 bedroom home, and they're not looking to sell their home and buy another home. So I believe there's a need for it. Whether this is the correct proposal or not, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, thank you. I also believe there's a need for senior housing in Woodbury. That's why we made this overlay district, which would make it somewhat attractive to a developer to come in and develop some senior housing for rental units. However, this may not be the right project, I don't know. But if the board is uncomfortable with the amount of information we have, all I could do is ask that we get updated reports and see if it will change the mind of the trustees.
Well, it's not so much, excuse me. It's not, in my opinion, so much the quantity of information that we have. We do have quite a bit of information, several documents, I'd say about 8 or 10 different documents, including the EAF. But it's the quality of the data that we have. I mean, just one piece of information that they gave, they said that there's, I believe, 3,800 tax parcels in the town. 3,811, I think, was the number that they put in their request. And there's actually quite a bit more than that. It's over 4,600. So I just question the validity of the rest of the data that's in their documents.
Okay. So I would take it at this point, we do not want to proceed. Is that the consensus I'm getting?
I do not want to proceed.
Not with the information we have, no.
Okay.
Yes. Do not want to proceed.
Okay, we'll see if they have additional information that they could provide us. And if not, it will, we won't go any further. Okay, next up is the auction results for surplus equipment. Desiree, could you please read the bids that we received?
Yes, the auction closed yesterday, yesterday evening. We received for the 2010 Ford Explorer a bid of $7,000. For the 1996 Ford E350, $5,200. For the 2010 Chevy Tahoe, $8,800. We did not receive a bid for the fire foam, and we received a bid for $1 for the office furniture. And the fire truck, we authorized the auction company to extend the bidding period due to the short period that we had for bidding on the fire truck. So at this time, I'm recommending that you accept the 3 bids for the 3 vehicles and reject the bid for the furniture and rebid the furniture and the foam with the fire truck.
Okay. The extension will coincide with our next meeting for the fire truck, so we'll be able to take action then. So at this time, can I have a motion to accept the highest successful bid for the sale of the items presented? Also to rebid the fire foam and reject and rebid the office equipment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I just want to point out I did some market research with regard to the fair market value of the vehicles that we put out for auction. And while the price on the Tahoe came in several $1,000s less than what a similar vehicle would be worth for private purchase, it was a fire chief's vehicle, and the gas pedal had 2 positions, on and off. The Explorer came in pretty close to the fair market value, so I'm satisfied with those numbers personally.
Okay. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have new business. It's the Family Paid Leave Act. So at this time, I'd like to ask Desiree to please read the resolution.
It's resolved that the Village of Woodbury hereby elects to not participate in the New York Paid Family Leave Program at this time. And be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby directed to send a certified copy of the resolution to Workers' Compensation Board and the Disability Insurance Carrier. And further resolved that the village mayor is hereby directed to notify each employee of the village's decision to not opt into this program at this time.
Thank you. Motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that concludes our business for this evening. With that, I'm going to go out to the public. Anybody in the second row? Anybody in the third row?
Congratulations, Mayor Queenan and your village trustees on the election. I didn't get a chance to tell you. Good job, well done. I wanted to mention a couple things. To see, well, on that issue you were talking about with the housing, the senior housing, you've spent a lot of time and effort on the senior housing law. I can appreciate that, and I just want to say, I'm certain I'm not the only one concerned about this becoming Section 8 housing. You've heard it before. If you do go forward, I'd like to make sure that you write it into the law, if it's not this one, the next one, that it never becomes Section 8 housing. And if you do go forward with this, I think you should do it in phases. So you do one building first, see if it sells, see if the people move in. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but if you could, phase it so that it's half done and then the rest. And the other thing is, it's probably going to need a traffic signal, and I am not down with that at all. You're going to have 84, at least 84 cars for a parking lot over there, and also the flooding over there. I mean, that's,
All right, Matt, I understand what you're saying,
Okay.
but we don't want to get into a quasi-public hearing on this topic,
right.
all right? So,
That's very good. But if you could consider that, you know, about the Section 8 housing. And I also want to mention to you, and see if you've read the DEC recent document on the rock quarry permit renewal. Mayor Queen and I know you've read it. I don't know if the rest of the board has read it. It mentions that 10 times the volume, and apparently there was a misfiled air quality permit. I don't understand that. I do know they have a lot of new equipment. There's portable crushers been there for a long time. And Mr. Trustee Mikulovichek, you remember the old portable crushers with the C&D, what they wanted with the C&D. They've been there a long time. There's a lot of other new equipment. The site is completely rebuilt. It's a whole new operation. 10 times the volume is what that document said. And has anyone spoken to the new owner about his plans? I'd like to see if you've, spoken to him about new plans that he has. If they use an electrical generator, I've been at my house where I've heard this hum inside my house that was the weirdest thing, because you could hardly hear it outside, but it was just as loud inside as it was outside. And there's been a lot of, I'm not the only one, other people have complained about noise over there. It's it's noisy as hell. And as far as hours of operation, now, you're familiar with the hours of operation over there for the village, what they're allowed to do. But here, you say Saturday maintenance. Well, I'm out Saturday at 6:30 in the morning, and at 5:45, I can hear the backup beepers on this Saturday. So, I just hope you guys can do something, I mean, look into this. Their permit supposedly was up for renewal. Sunday was the final day. No one can see the renewal for the permit because it was the document I explained to you that hopefully you've read. But that's all we have, so there's no way for the public to comment. They did a secret 2 years ago, but like I said, it's a new operation. So, has anybody spoken to the new owner?
Matt, you already know this, but the permitting for that quarry up there is done by the DEC Mining Division. So that's where you would have to go to really get the answers that you're asking us here. I met the owner. I didn't speak to him about his plans, no. I met him one day when I went up there to look around with Gary.
Well, if you have different hours of operation from the village here. Like, at the zoning board hearings, I remember you saying that Saturday was supposed to be only for maintenance. Now Saturday is jumping with backup beepers and everything else. And it goes on. So,
If I recall correctly, yeah, the hours of operation were spelled out clearly in the special permit that was issued by the planning board originally, when that special permit was issued. And one of my strongest points was that they stick to those hours of operation, that there was no working on Saturdays. If they are in violation of the hours of operation, you have to bring that to the attention of the building inspector.
I'm bringing it to your attention.
Well,
I'm hoping
we'll
that, I'm
contact Gary,
yeah,
but he would be the one who handles,
yeah. I mean,
violation.
He doesn't work Saturday.
Yeah, but you
I can call him, but.
could call him, you can go to the office, that's the protocol. What? And
I
there's a
understand the
complaint form.
protocol. I'm looking for help here from you all.
Well, first, the process is, first thing you have to do is file the complaint. I mean, really, we let you come in here and you know, talk about your complaint, but the real thing you should be doing is going to the code enforcement officer, making a complaint.
There's been complaints made to the police department and to Gary.
You're not supposed to make them to the police department. They don't handle that. You need to go to the code enforcement officer.
I don't need to do anything. I've done my
All right,
bit.
then don't. I mean, what do you want me to tell you?
I want to help is all. Have a nice
Well, and I'm
Thanksgiving.
trying to help you. You
Okay.
need to go to the code enforcement officer and file a complaint. And then that will start it.
It'll start what? If their hours of operation are supposed to be one thing and they're not?
Hey, Matt, we could go back and forth
Okay,
here all
thank-
night. No,
thank
no.
you.
All right, go ahead, sit down.
Thank you.
But
Have a nice-
the proper thing to do is to file a complaint with the code enforcement officer, and he will look into the validity of the complaint. And that's how it starts. Coming here and telling us all about it, yeah, we can mention it to Gary, but until he has a complaint, he's not going to do anything.
I understand. Has anybody else saw the DEC documentation? None of you, except Mayor Queenan? Well, you ought to look at it. I would appreciate it if you did. It's 5 pages. Thank you. Have a happy Easter, you all. Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Easter, too.
So it's good to be ahead of time, man. Let's go.
Anybody else in the fourth row? Or third row, I'm sorry.
I heard what you meant.
Seen double.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chris Garver, Central Valley. First, Trustee Egan, you mentioned the market analysis report for the Highland. Is that on, I may have missed it. Where is that documentation?
It can be foiled. No, it can be foiled.
So I'll file with the village clerk? No problem. Second thing, I just asked that maybe the village board consider a more inclusive way of notifying the public of meeting changes. The village events calendar still has this meeting listed on Thanksgiving. So if you look.
What has it listed?
The village events calendar, if you go to the village webpage and you look at your Google Calendar that you have linked there, it's still listed as Thursdays, even though it's Thanksgiving, but, the refuse department uses email blasts to notify of schedule changes. The parks department uses email blasts to notify of events that takes place with their events. And the water department uses both the code red and a reverse 911 to notify of hydrant flushing or any sort of instances that are taking on with their services. So I just asked the village board just try to be a little more inclusive. Last month, everybody sat up here and said they were very impressed with the turnout from the community. In order to keep that going, I think we just need to make sure, if people are used to meetings being on Thursday nights, coming from the environment I come from, I'm very set by a schedule, so it would just be nice to get a little bit better notification on that. The third is, and I know it's a county road, but Smith Clove Road and the overpass for the train station, not train station, the train tracks there.
Right.
Probably the fourth or fifth time this week, an oversized vehicle has tried to either make it under or gotten halfway under and realized they don't fit. And have to back up into that little roundabout that's right outside there. Causes traffic to stop on both sides. Last time it happened was during school dismissal, so the buses got stuck and the kids had to wait and things like that. There are a number of systems out there. One is on the Henry Hutch that notify vehicles of overheight. with flashing signs, warnings, hey, listen, you know, you're not gonna make the bridge. Maybe the village can either talk to the county or look into something on your own, that maybe the signage should probably be moved closer to 32 in Smith Clove. And, because it's really, you don't really know about that bridge until you get to it, and then you're kind of stuck. So if you got a 26-foot-long box truck, you know, it's kind of hard to make. You still got to turn around. So if maybe that's something the village could just look into, you know, maybe there's grant money or something else out there, because you can tell there's been damage to that bridge before, and the MTA was out there actually inspecting the bridge today, taking pictures of those bridges. And I don't know if it was because of a hit or not, but we also know, coming from a community that was very railroad-driven, if that bridge gets hit strong enough, it potentially could shift the tracks, even a minute amount. It breaks the contact in the signaling system, which would then stop rail traffic from flowing. It's a single, so your commuters would then be at a disadvantage until they could fix that signaling system.
Yeah, and we have spoken to the state about putting something on 32.
Right.
Because once a truck makes that right turn onto Smith Clove, it's almost too late at that point.
Yeah,
But we've spoken to the state about that several times, and they haven't done anything about it. And
I
they're
wrote
very
to the
particular.
local DOT engineer too, and got basically a generic, we'll take your comments under advisement, and maybe in 2090, when the aliens land, we'll see what we can do. So just maybe, if they get some pressure from the village, I mean, how much is it really gonna cost the DOT to put some signage there? And that's it, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you so much. I made some notes about the notification of meeting changes. I'll take that advice and see if we could do a better job. And I will contact the county about notifying or finding out about new signage to notify trucks about the height of the trestle. So we'll take a look at that. Anybody else in the third row?
Good evening. Ray Hernandez. I just want to say congratulations to the board on your election. I just want to echo what Matt said on the senior project. Please don't allow Section 8 to be accepted there. I was a New York City housing cop working in the projects in the city, and we do not want Section 8 in Woodbury. Quality of life would just go, it'll be terrible for the community. And I also like the board to also look into making sure that if this project goes through, that only seniors will be allowed to move into this development and not families with kids. It's a senior project, and so it should only be seniors, and there should be a age requirement. I'm not sure what age is classified as a senior, but if it's going to be a development for seniors, then there shouldn't be any young families or families with kids moving into this community. Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez, just so you know, our law is very specific. It's limited to people 55 and older.
Okay.
There are only two exceptions. One is for a child of one of those adults who would be disabled in some way, that required him to reside with his parents.
Okay.
And the other wouldn't be for an adult, as long as he was a caretaker, providing assistance to
For the senior.
one of the adults
Right.
in that family. Those are the three.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
55.
55, it's restricted to 55 and older.
Anybody else in the fourth row? I'm sorry, third row. I don't know. I keep thinking we got 4 rows. Big crowd. Nobody at all? Okay, Maria, you have anything? Jess? Mickey? Buddy?
Just want to wish a happy and safe Thanksgiving to everyone, and enjoy your holiday. And as we all know, the south part of town on Route 32 with the traffic in the Woodbury Commons is going to be a nightmare for the next few days. So I'd advise everybody to avoid it if they can. and enjoy.
Neil?
Yeah, I mean, just to briefly fill the board in, I went to the Orange County Traffic Council meeting today, attempt to find out any more information I could for the boards on the 131 interchange plan. We were not necessarily surprised, but the DOT, who is a member of that board, did not show up today. They, they called in, and basically they had no more information to share with us. They said any information that would be forthcoming to the elected officials and to the public will take place after the governor has had an opportunity to have a public or a media release on this. They spoke about a design and build model, and which is basically because also David Church, who's the Commissioner of Planning, was pressing them on the phone as well, but they didn't get any place. Judy Reif, who is the Times Herald Record reporter on transportation specialist, she said that her usual sources in the DOT are not returning her calls or anything. But the idea is, from what we were able to kind of put together, or working together today a little bit, is that they are releasing the bids based on a design and then build. And they want to hold it within the time frame that has been set, which makes it a little difficult for some bidders because they can't meet those deadlines. The design that we've been told is a possibility. I think the diamond design
Inverted
is,
diamond.
in the inverted diamond, is been in France, Missouri, and Kentucky or Tennessee, those places. It speaks about it is less expensive to build, faster to build, but it doesn't really speak to the quality. And that's all there is right now until, I guess, the governor holds his press release sometime after Thanksgiving.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll go for Easter too, Matt. We'll just go ahead of time. And also, as Buddy said, there's going to be some traffic in town, so please drive safe. Still, the traffic on 32 is insane with the speed. So I do my best by going the speed limit. It bothers the heck out of people when we get towards Cornwall, but that's the way it is. So self-policing would help. So, thank you.
Tim?
I'm going to use better judgment and save comments with regard to the 131 interchange until we have more information, but not happy. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and just watch the south end of town. I mean, everybody knows, stay away. Use alternate routes, as they say.
Desiree? No. Okay, I'd like to also wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and to maybe on Friday just shop online and stay away from Woodbury Common area. But anyway, again, I want to wish everybody happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you and good night.